Okay, good afternoon, everyone. So, for today, we're gonna have Module 6. This is your last, okay, learning activity sheet. So, for this module or last, we're gonna have the rationale of the study. So, ang rationale, this is one of the major components dun sa introduction part of your research paper. So, just in case you forgot, please bear in mind that the introduction has numerous parts, but primarily triangle siya. Okay, so it starts with the general down to the specific. So ang rationale gives us a bigger picture of what is to be expected with the research. So let's take a look on the dictionary meaning muna ng rationale. So a rationale is an explanation of controlling principles of opinion, belief, practice, or phenomena. This is the underlying reason or basis. So sa konteksto ng research writing, the rationale tells us kung bakit mo ginagawa yung study mo. So yung justification na ibibigay mo bilang researcher will address the significant points of the problem na ina-address mo sa study mo. So kumbaga, di ba, gagawin mo yung research mo ng may dahilan ka. Ano yung mga dahilan na yun? Yun yung mga basis mo. Okay? So kumbaga, if you're friends with someone, kung kaibigan mo siya, may rational, okay? Kung bakit friends kayo, may underlying reasons. Nagalit ka sa isang tao, may underlying reasons. Nag-aaral ka ng mabuti, may underlying reasons. Minahal mo siya, may underlying reasons din. So same goes with research. You're doing that, you know that the task is big, at ano yung reasons mo kung bakit mo ginagawa yun. So that is what this part is trying to give up, to present to the readers. So the rationale of the study, you have to determine the sense of all things you plan to do in your proposed study. So ito yung mga questions na pwede mo itanong. Is there a need to conduct a study about your chosen research topic? Sure ka ba? Hindi pa ba yan na address? Hindi lang ba yan mag-google? So classmates, bear in mind kapag nag-iisip ka ng research topic at may gusto kang i-research, make sure na hindi siya yung ka-google-google. Okay, baka it's just a Google away, so bakit mo pa siya i-research? Does it pose a significant research problem? And when we say significant, importante. Hindi lang sa'yo, pero sa a number of people, okay? And does it matter to your academic discipline? Let's say, for example, we have gas and TVN. Is it important? Is it that important? Okay? So if your answers in the previously asked questions are yes, then that can be a good starting point for establishing the rationale of your study. So kumbaga, pag tinanong ka in the future, ba kapag mag magde-defense kayo, o bakit mo ginawa itong study na to? Dito mo pwedeng kuhanin yung sagot sa rationale. Okay? Research justification is considered as the initial step in writing a research paper. Bakit? Because this involves the skill on how the researcher will provide the readers with critical background or contextual information that introduces the research topic. So for example, gusto mong pag-aralan kung gaano ka-stress ang mga teachers or pwede ng mga students sa pandemic, okay? So bakit mo kailangan pag-aralan yun? Magpo-provide ka ng mga contextual information. And when we say contextual information, ito yung background. Anong meron dun sa sitwasyon, sa mga taong yun, sa kontekstong yun. It presents the picture for you to understand. Bakit nga ba? So you could start with you could start with ano ba yung impact, psychological impact ng nasa bahay ka madalas, ano yung stress level according to other articles or studies ng mga tao ngayon given the pandemic, and how are people coping up with their work or with their studies. So, and apparently, you could also consider yung mga napapanahong balita na connected dun sa ideya na stressed ba yung mga tao ngayon given the pandemic. Of course, you may say yes, but you may dig deeper. So, dun papasok yung pag-present mo ng rationale ng study mo. So, how to write the rationale of the study? So, you have the following components. We have the existing literature, and when we say literature, hindi poetry, hindi short story. We are referring to all of the things that are written um, credible sources about the study. So pwede siyang journal articles, book, magazine articles, or mas better if news articles, and credible internet sources. At hindi lahat na makikita mo sa internet pwede mong i-quote sa iyong literature. Okay, so when we say existing literature, a background on what the researchers have already done about the given subject. Okay? Ano na ba yung napag-aralan tungkol sa stress levels ng mga tao ngayong pandemic? So, pwedeng dito pumapasok yung in a study by, for example, SICA 2021, or people are stressed in the past few months or the past few years because their movement are limited. Then, open and close parenthesis, SICA 2021. Those kind of stuff. You may in-text citation. So, may basis, okay? This should be published, okay? So, relevance to the local or global context. So, the situational interconnectedness of individuals or things in varying perspectives. Gan ba ka-importante to sa local community mo? Or if not the local community, even the global context. Let's say for example, on what we're doing, the suggested topic, kunwari, local context, malalaman ng mga tao sa community mo kung gaano sila ka-stressed. Or yung global context, they would know, people in general, everybody's affected by the pandemic. So the pandemic is a global concern. So your paper can serve as an input on that particular topic regarding the pandemic. Okay? So interconnected kasi tayo. So as I've mentioned earlier, kailangan mo i-consider gaano ba ka-importante ang topic mo, hindi lang sa'yo, kundi sa local, community, and sa global context. And then, we also have the critical background or contextual information, as I've mentioned earlier, yung pagpo-form ng background of an event, idea, or subject para ma-grasp ni reader kung ano yung nature ng problem. Di ba kapag nag-chismis, pero nagkukwento ka sa kaibigan mo, hindi naman pwede, kung wala siyang idea dun sa kwento, kailangan mo munang bigyan ng background, okay? So dun papasok yung critical background or contextual information. So same goes with the study. Hindi ka mag-a-assume na alam na ni reader lahat. So magpo-provide ka ng critical background or contextual information para maintindihan nila saan ka nanggagaling, anong pinaghuhugutan mo, okay? Yes, so there. And then the research gap. So the research gap refers to the problems, issues, or questions that have not been addressed yet or understood yet, okay? Do you understand? So for the research gap, I could compare this one to a spider web. Yung ano ng spider, yung gagamba. Agi in Kapampangan. So, the spider web, hindi naman lahat ng space nakuha niya, di ba? May mga spaces pa, may mga gaps pa. So, kumbaga sa research mo, kung may pinag-aaralan ka, definitely, meron nang nakapag-aral niyan, not only here in Pampanga or the Philippines, but all over the world. So, what you're trying to do is to determine ano pa ba yung hindi nila napapag-aralan tungkol dun sa topic na yun. Okay? Saan ka ba pupwesto? Kumbaga, saan yung space mo? Okay? Proof of urgency, okay? It is an urgent need to solve the existing problem. Bakit ba kailangan i-solve to? You have to present the reasons, the valid reasons kung bakit kailangan ma-solve tong problema. Then lastly is the research goal or objective, the purpose why there is the need for the proposed study to be conducted. Okay? No, ito align dapat to sa research title mo, sa research sa mga statement of the problem or research questions mo. Ganito siya lagi ha. Si research goal or objective, actually sa ibang mga papers sila yun na yung research question. But for now, we could start with the research goal or objective must be in alignment to the research question. And your central question should be aligned with the research title. Okay? So, hindi pwedeng sabog-sabog. Okay? Hindi siya pwedeng incoherent. Okay? Here are some questions to be considered in presenting justifications. So, minsan, ang hirap ng gumagawa ka ng isang paragraph nang wala kang guide questions. So, ito yung mga questions na pwede mo sagutin habang sinusulat mo yung rationale ng study mo. So, why is the research important? So sagutin mo. Bear in mind, in whatever writing that you do, it is the best for you to always have evidence or a corresponding source. So, mas effective yung may mga in-text citation. Na may in-text citation? Bawa, Santos. Ay, hindi ko ba siya maano? Hindi ako makapag-type. Gawa akong bagong Santos. 2016. Yung mga may sinite kang source at make sure na yung mga sinasite ng source na ganyan as cited by, as mentioned by, or Santos indicated that. So, yung mga may pa 2016, 2018. So, mas maganda, the most recent, the better. So, mas maganda mga 5 years. Pero depende sa Research1, depende sa material. Kung primary source kung primary text yan, okay lang siya. Kung medyo matagal na siya. Pero kung news article, tapos 1975, hindi po pwede yan. What real life or everyday problem, issue, or question does the research relate to? Can people relate to the problem in local or global context? Then you justify. What benefit does the research promise? Ano yung makukuha from the research results? What are the units of analysis and observation clearly identified? Are the units of analysis and observation clearly identified? How are they gonna observe? How are they going to analyze? What does the researcher hope to find out? What was wrong or incomplete about prior efforts already conducted? Okay, so kumbaga ito yung gap. You're taking your place here. And does the research extend understanding of the phenomena being investigated? Does it elaborate or fill in the gaps? And what is the research ultimately trying to achieve? Okay? So ngayon, meron tayong example. This is the educated citizen, cultural and gender capital in the schooling of Aitas children in the municipality of Haniway by Moralista and Delari Arte 2014. So, tingnan natin yung forma ng kanilang rationale. So, tingnan nyo, medyo mahaba siya. But look, they started with the Republic Act number 8371. So, ang lakas na ng ng sinect niyang batas agad. Okay? So, it gives you the impression na, pinag-aralan talaga siya. It may strong basis siya. Okay? And then, here, you may do your own reading afterwards. So, in-indicate nila yung in-explain nila yung mismong batas. Ayan. And then, meron pa siyang pag-cite ng UN Declaration of Human Rights on Education as well as the 1987 Constitution of the Republic of the Philippines. So, from there, yun nga, foundation daw, yun ng study, which is a good one. Okay? And then, the study aims to understand the cultural practices of Aitas children in the municipality of this place. Okay? So, nilagay na niya yung mga what do you call this one? Mga objectives niya or goals. Like this one, meron siyang pag-cite ng source. Okay? May in-text citation siya. This is highly recommended para mas maging kapani-paniwala at mas maging scholarly and credible yung pagkakagawa mo ng iyong rationale. So this is another rationale. President Rodrigo Roa Duterte's political speeches, a critical discourse analysis by Remorosa 2018. So ito yung a message from the president is given almost unparalleled importance in contrast to other communication. So ito, sinasabi niya yung importance ng speech ni President. Okay? Speeches and addresses of any sort should therefore be read as statements of presidential power, and they are all attempts to assert the power of the presidency. And this is an existing literature. And when I say existing literature, this was already done, this was already published, okay, by Chimbarange, Nakavarasha, and Combe 2014. So, nag-i-exist na siya. Okay? Kumbaga ito, napag-aralan na. Then, you have to relate it to the present study. Okay? At bakit siya relevant to the local and global context. The present study is concerned with investigating an aspect of discourse that has not received adequate attention within the Philippine political discourse. The absence of a research study in and national and local setting has prompted more the investigation. So bakit niya pinag-aaralan? Kasi daw, hindi pa naka-receive ng adequate attention sa Philippine political discourse at there is the apparent absence of research study. But classmates, be careful. Huwag kang basta-basta magsasabi ng ganito kung hindi ka nag-research ng maayos. Okay? It has been found out that due to the pressure of media and attention of their consumers, the traditional view of critical has been changing and is now nearer to the background or contextual informal speech. So, in effort to catch political speeches every day should therefore be, ano daw to? Okay. Not only interesting, dapat dito siya. Okay? So, hindi ko siya its effort to catch political speeches every day should therefore be not only interesting, but also entertaining so as to be enticing to media holders who have the privilege of what would be presented and how. So, meron ulit siyang sinite na source. Okay? So, parang kumbaga may kiniklaim ka. And after mo sabihin yun, meron ka ebidensya. Okay? Before mo sabihin na tamad si ganito, kung kunwari, halimbawa, sinusumbong mo yung kapatid mo kasunod na tamad siya, o anong ebidensya mo? Paano mo sasabihin sa nanay mo na tamad siya? Hindi mo pwedeng sabihin, tamad lang siya. Do you have an evidence? So in research writing, you have these. Ito yung mga evidence mo. At dapat credible yung sources mo. So here is another one. Nagkaroon ng additional pa. The researcher has noticed the analysis of oral texts have been rarely studied by CDA's researches. Content discourse analysis, if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm going to double check later, okay? So, nakita nila yung research gap na hindi masyado daw napapag-aralan yung mga ganitong klaseng political discourses, okay? So, ito yung proof of urgency kasi, ayun nga, there's an urgent need to pursue this research kasi may great change in administrative reform. And yun nga, we're talking about the president. We're talking about leadership. And then, papakita na yung research aim and or goal. So yun, naka-pattern na. Sundan nyo lang yung ganitong pattern. You have the sample. And you could actually work your way out for your rationale. Okay? So, if you have questions, by the way, you may just comment sa baba, then I'm gonna make another video. So, going back, ito ang forma ng rationale. Baga, si rational ang justification mo, bakit mo ginagawa yung isang research. You start with existing literature, the relevance, okay, the research gap, the proof of urgency, and then you end it with the research goal. So, ito, halimbawa, you have the following activities. So, halimbawa, read and analyze the following research topics. And then, i-justify mo. Yung pagkaka-justify mo ng mga reasons, dapat may support. Okay? From reputable sources, wala pong Wikipedia ang makikita dito. Walang Facebook na baka yung source mo, Facebook, Wikipedia, Instagram, TikTok, my goodness, walang ganon. Okay? Isayaw mo, sige, sa TikTok, but then, I need credible sources for this one. Okay? Depression, there are lots of things written about depression online. Coronavirus disease or the COVID-19, it's all over the internet and teenage pregnancy. And then, fill in the blanks to show your understanding about the rationale. Rationale, I mean, write your answers on your notebook. So, you fill in the blanks. So, you may always reread, okay? Dali lang yan. Then, read and analyze. So, kung makikita nyo, ayan, it's about COVID-19 and education. So, ayan. So, you have to flex your comprehension muscles. Sagutin with justification. Okay, why are we doing this? It's not for you to be tortured, but for you to develop the skill in comprehension. Okay, kasi you need that. Before you can write, you have to comprehend first, not only the question, but also what you're going to read, what you're going to write. And then assessment, fact or bluff. Okay, rationale pertains to the reason for conducting the study. O sige, dahil nanood ka ng video na to, and tinapos umabot ka hanggang dito, ang sagot dito is definitely, what do you think? Fact. Okay, sige, magbibigay ako ng dalawang bonus answers. Number one is a fact. The researcher may consider what was wrong or incomplete about prior efforts conducted on the same problem. What do you think? Pinag-usapan na natin to. You're looking for the gap. What's missing pa about what were written already. So, it's a fact as well. So, may 2 points na kayo. Um, sure. O sige, para masaya, 3 points na. The proposed study can still be conducted even if there are sufficient solutions to the given problem. So for this one, isipin nyo, can the proposed study be conducted if there are already sufficient solutions to the given problem? Okay, so this one is would be fact or bluff kasi depending on the gap. But if you're talking about addressing a problem and there's already sufficient solution, it's a bluff. Okay? So there, hanggang doon na lang. So there, additional activities. Remember to use the same research topic, okay? So kung nakapili ka na ng ng research topic mo, ayun, ayusin mo lang siya and then try to justify. I would say that you try to look for existing researches about your topic that would help and then tignan mo kung saan ka pwedeng pumasok. But don't copy the entire existing research because that's plagiarism. Okay? So ito, yung mga pagsagot mo dito, dapat may basis yan. Bakit mo siya mahal? Kasi gwapo siya. Hindi ka rin ganun. Pero dapat may basis ka. Hindi, sure lang. Why is your research important? You have to answer well. Okay? And even in relationships, before you enter relationships, diba? You have your reasons why. Kasi pasok siya sa standards ko. Kasi may pangarap siya sa buhay. And sometimes love is not even enough. You know that, right? Okay? So there, that's the end of this module. So I hope I was able to address your questions. Kung may mga questions pa, feel free to ask. You have your comment section below. Wait for the next video. Week 7 na tayo. Okay, bye-bye!